Happy weekend! Welcome back to Cannin Technical Analysis. I'm Steven, and this week we're going to jump right into maybe an unknown hemp stock for you. This week we're looking at Earth Science Tech Inc., ETST on the OTC markets. Recently announced they're going to look at trying to get traded on the CSE, the Canadian Stock Exchange, as well. So we'll look to see what their ticker is there. But this is a company out of the United States in Florida who tries to do a lot. How's this for a lack of focus? They say that they are in hemp, cannabinoid, nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, medical device, research, and development. That's literally every buzzword. But let's stay away from the fundamentals and jump into the technicals this week. Let's look at the pricing chart. You can see we're looking at our Hakanashi again. Very easy to see trends up and down. I'm going to scroll back to last year. You can see that they spiked up at about $2. But since then, the trend has definitely been down at about less than 60 cents now. So that's a trend that is pretty easy to interpret. This week, we're going to learn a brand new indicator. We've been combining indicators in the previous weeks and months. And this is a really easy to understand one when the trend isn't so obvious. So this week we're looking at the choppiness index, and I just want to show you the settings here. We're looking back with bands on the upper and lower end at 61.8 and 38.2, which if you're a mathematician or statistician, those will be important numbers for you. But you can see the bands here, right? So it's a 0 to 100 scale. Our lower band here, our upper band here, 61%. And so anything above 61% is choppy. It means we want to stay away. We don't want to get into that trend. The trend is really choppy. Everything below here, the lower band, is really confirming a trend. So the lower or closer to 0 you are here, it's more likely that you're confirming a trend. The higher or closer to 100 you are, the choppier it is and the less likely you're going to want to do to make a trade. So look at this stock. It's been up and down for a long time. Not a lot of significant movement. 64 here, 61 here. And the choppiness index you can see is above our upper band that whole time. So we would stay away from that. So there's a couple of ways to read in and use the choppiness index as an indicator on whether you want to get into a trade or not. One interpretation, and this is the easiest one, so maybe one we don't want to use. When we break through that lower band, and that means we're confirming a trend. So if we have price movement, moving down or moving up, and this breaks the lower bound, we're confirming that that trend is strong and maybe we want to trade it. But again, very easy interpretation. So I'm going to teach you maybe one a little easier, and that's identifying a trend and then confirming it. So you can see here, and this is just one of the examples here that we have another one right here, where we break the upper bound. We're in the choppy waters where we want to make no trades, but then we break the upper bound. We come back down, and look what happens right here. On the day that we break the upward bound, it's about 70 cents. So that's our trigger. Hey, let's watch this trend. Maybe when we want to enter that right there with an aggressive stop loss. And if it continues to move down and touch the lower band or even past the lower band, then we know that it's a strong trend and we want to ride that out. Whereas if it comes back and retraces, maybe our stop isn't activated and we get out. Little losses and big gains. Remember, that's what we're in for. So look for this to identify the first trend and that to really back it up. And look at the price chart when this happened. Identify a downward trend and then back it up. And if we would have gotten out once the slope changed, it would have been a nice little trade. Not huge, but a nice little trade. So some of these choppiness indexes are really nice when the stock price isn't doing anything, right? It tells you when not to play, and it tells you if you want to play, you can try and take a little bit of profit from an otherwise horizontal pricing chart. So another one to add to the arsenal, the choppiness index. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, ask questions in the comments and let me know what you think of Earth Science Tech.